What's going on, guys? Rob Wynn here. Today I'm going to be showing you a super simple way you can potentially increase revenues and customer satisfaction on your e-commerce store using a pretty simple configuration to create an e-commerce chatbot that can both recommend products and provide customer service functions to users who are visiting your site. It's using an app called Streamline Connector in the Shopify store. Just wanted to go through a quick tutorial on how you can set it up, get it up and running, and get it working on your e-commerce store. Let's go. So the first thing I wanted to do is just give a quick demo of what this thing can actually do. So you can see here it's you've already started the dialogue with the agent. It's asking you what you're looking for, and they can type in just conversationally, the user that is, what they're looking for. We'll just put in a stock message there. They're looking for a laptop, but they don't have a large budget. And the agent's going to come back with not only this personalized text detailing some products and why it might fit their needs or what they're looking for. It's going to give some details on the products in your store. It's also going to provide this carousel where the user can cycle through the options listed above, and you can click on any one to take you directly to the product page. Obviously, I don't have a product page because I haven't set that up, but for your store, you would. And the other cool thing you can do is you can track the order status with this. You can set it up so it'll ask for an email address. We're going to enter that and give it a couple seconds. And you can see it was able to find the order for this particular user, gives you a picture of what they ordered, a little link to take you to the order screen and show the exact status. So that's the other cool thing you can do. You can also set it up to be just a more general customer service, knowledge providing, FAQ type chatbot. But since that's pretty simple to do, we won't specifically cover how to do that in this video. This is mostly just going to be for how to set up product recommendations and the order lookup feature. So the first thing to do to get this set up is we're going to navigate to Streamline Connector's website. I'll provide a link to that in the description below. Once we're here, we're going to click on Templates, and then we're going to go down to this Product and Orders version 3 at the time of this video. We'll click on that, and then we'll scroll down here to where there's a free download link. We'll click on that, and what that's actually going to do is download the template into your Voiceflow account. So obviously you'll need a Voiceflow account already to get this started, but we'll give that a couple seconds. And once it's done importing, you will see this Shopify Streamline template now loaded in your agent section of your Voiceflow account. Next, you'll want to navigate to your Shopify account, and you will need an actual Shopify store. You cannot do this with just a development store. But once you're in your Shopify store, you'll go down to the Apps section. You'll search for the Streamline Connector app, and it should come up. I've already got it installed, so I'll click here. You will need to sign up for a plan for the Streamline Connector, but you can get a free trial. I'll leave a promo code in the description below to extend that free trial a little bit, to give you a little bit more time to work it out and see if it's something you want to try in your business. But once you've done that, you'll arrive at this screen. It says, "Welcome to Streamline," and now we're going to connect our assistant. We'll get this screen where it's asking for an API key and our chatbot name. So to get our API key, we'll navigate back into Voiceflow. We'll go into this Shopify Streamline template, navigate over to the integrations on the left-hand side, and then we'll copy this API key. We'll navigate back into the Streamline app, enter the API key there, give it a name, and then we'll click Connect. So the first thing we'll do once we've got this Streamline Assistant connected to our Voiceflow agent is we will import the product information from our store into our Voiceflow knowledge base. And to do that, what you'll do is you'll click on these three dots here. You'll click Manage Data. You'll get the Assistant knowledge base here with nothing in it currently. We'll go up to Create and then Send Products. We'll give it a name. You can select specific products if you want to. We'll just send all active products. I think it does that by default. Everything else we'll just leave as is, which we actually have to do if we're using one of their templates. And then we'll simply scroll down to Confirm and Save. Now what that's going to do, you'll see the upload is in progress here. If you navigate back to your Voiceflow agent and navigate to the knowledge base section, we can actually see that now we have a data source in our knowledge base for our agent. And this is what we just passed over from the Streamline Connector app from our Shopify store. If we click on this, we can see on the right-hand side, we've got information about our products. In my case, I run a tech store. I just created a dummy store with a bunch of sample products. We've got Apple iPhones, Samsung iPhones, laptops, etc. But you can see the knowledge base now contains the product information. It's got the title of the item and then a paragraph with a description of the item as well. And that simply matches. If I navigate over to my Shopify products section, we can see I have my list of dummy products here, and each one has a description with details about the product. That's the exact information that's passed over into this knowledge base. Now, the next thing we'll want to do is navigate to the product recommendation workflow. We can do that by going to workflows, double clicking here. And by the way, if you're not familiar with how to use Voiceflow, I have a whole tutorial on how to use Voiceflow, which you can check out just to give you a lay of the land and understand what's going on here. But once we're in this workflow, we're going to find this actual Streamline Connector function, which we can click on here. And you can see the variable mapping over here. And what this means is that it's taking certain values from our Voiceflow workflow and then inputting them into variables within the actual function itself. And then here at the bottom, the output, it's the reverse. It's taking what the function returns, those variables, and then loading them into variables within the Voiceflow workflow. What this means for our purposes is that for this input variable for the VF API key, we'll actually want to paste that same API key that we did before when we connected it to the Streamline connector. So again, just a reminder to get that, we can navigate to integrations, copy this API key, navigate back to the product recommendation page, and paste it in the function in this value here. Now, what this function actually does in plain English is it takes the user's question, whatever details they give, and it goes through our knowledge base of products that we just uploaded a moment ago, and it finds the 3 most relevant products and converts them into a carousel. A carousel is that thing you can rotate through by clicking the arrow. It'll show you a different product. It shows the picture, the title, the price, maybe a little description. That's a carousel, and this function creates that carousel based on the user's question. For our purposes here, I'm going to remove these links to this modify payload artificial intelligence step because we're going to be putting in plain emails. We don't need to have that modification step there. We'll just go straight to create recommendation. And then we'll also want to modify this prompt here. This is just the default prompt from Streamline Connector. You'll want to adjust this with your own prompt relevant to your own store. I'll include a description of the prompt that I'm going to use in the description below that I think is a little bit better than this one, and you can modify that one to suit your own purposes. So now that I've updated the prompt with something that suits my use case a little better, I'm also going to adjust the prompt settings. First off, I'm going to change the model. The default from Streamline is this Claude 3 Sonnet model, which is quite an expensive model. I've tested a few models, and even the cheaper ones are performing pretty well on this task. So I'm going to change it to just Claude Haiku, and that seems to be working fine, and it's the cheapest model here on Voiceflow. And this is a good opportunity to remind you all that in large language model prompting, tokens are money. So if you don't have to spend tokens unnecessarily, you should always look to reduce your token consumption by using the cheaper models. We're going to set the temperature down to 0.10, give it a little bit of wiggle room, but nothing too crazy. And max tokens, I'm going to set at 600. Like I said, I've tested this a few times and it seems to be working fine at those settings. And we'll also just adjust this system message. You can tailor it to your particular brand. I'm going to put in just a generic text store system message here. All right, now the next thing we're going to do is actually go into the function code and modify the code just a little bit, nothing too crazy, so don't get scared. Do this, we'll navigate back one step and then we'll actually go down to the functions. And we're going to be taking a look at the product recommendation function. And the first thing to take a look at in line 16 is this chunk limit. Now, I want to point out that you don't have to make any modifications here. It depends on your use case. But for me, 6 chunks is too much. That basically results in 6 products. Because my store is smaller, a lot of those products ended up being irrelevant to the user's query. So I'm going to change this down to 3, which is what Streamline originally had it as in their past versions of this template, but they bumped it up to 6 for whatever reason. I'm going to change it back down to 3 just because it fits my store, my demo store, a little bit better. You can do whatever you'd like. The other thing to potentially modify in this code, if you'll scroll down a little bit to line 78, is this body text length. This is referring to the item descriptions. So if we navigate back to my products page, this description here, this trimmed body is only going to take the first 280 characters of that description if it's over that amount. And potentially, depending on how large the descriptions are for your products, this could cut off some very valuable information that you would want the function to have access to so that it can recommend the best products for the user. So depending on how long your descriptions are, you may want to modify this. I found for my description, bumping it up to 600 seemed to be a good amount. It prevented it from chopping off some relevant information that would help the model find the correct products. But again, for this, you can try out different levels and find what works best for you. And that is actually it for setting up the product recommendation system. We can now test it and make sure everything's working correctly. We'll navigate back to the product recommendation workflow. We can start the test from this block here. We'll want to train our agent first to make sure everything's up to date. Now that that's trained, we can restart the test and we'll put in our message. We'll say what we're looking for and any details that we want to include. We'll submit our message and let the recommender do its thing. And we get a response that was pretty much in line with that demo that we did at the very beginning. All this JSON text in here is that carousel object that was created by the function. And then this response is the large language model's response to our question combined with that carousel and product information that it got from the knowledge base. You can see how it personalizes the message to what we said. And even in its product descriptions, it recognizes that we said we don't have a lot of money. You can see how it says, while it's not the cheapest option, this one is a bit more expensive, but it's still a great choice, etc. And then at the end, it actually prints out that carousel with the items themselves. You got a nice picture and a link where you can go to shop now, and you can also navigate through the 3 options. This is where those chunk limits come into play. If you wanted to add more products in this carousel, you could do so by adjusting that chunk limit. And of course, by clicking on that Shop Now link, it's going to take you to the product page on your store's e-commerce site. I don't have anything for mine because it's just a dummy store, but that's how that would work. So the next thing we'll work on is this order status lookup feature of the Streamline Connector app that also can be really helpful when you have an e-commerce store. Customers are coming on, they want to check the status of their order, see where it is, that sort of thing. So first we'll go to your Shopify store and you'll want to actually make sure you have some orders that it can pull information from. And assuming that's the case, we'll navigate into our Streamline Connector app. We'll click the 3 dots, we'll click Manage Data. We'll go back up to this Create option, and this time we'll click Send Orders. And all we need from this page, we don't have to worry about anything below this. We'll just click Copy for this endpoint here at the top. We'll navigate back into Voiceflow. We're going to navigate back into the functions that we were just taking a look at. This time we'll look at the order status function. And what we want to do here in line 17, you can see right above, it says paste the endpoint we gave you inside our app here. In between these 2 little marks, we're going to paste that endpoint that we just got from the Shopify app. Just click anywhere away to make sure that function's saved. We'll navigate back into the order status workflow. In here, we're going to remove this link to check if it's a valid email, because obviously we know we're going to be inputting a valid email, but it is something you may want to have in a production AI assistant just to make sure that the user's putting in an email that actually works. Again, this is just going back to that principle of not using tokens unless we really have to. So since we're just testing here, we're not going to send a request to the large language model. We'll connect the capture step with the retrieve order function, and that should be it. We can click on this button to start the test here. It's going to ask for an email address. This will correspond with an email address for one of the customers in your orders page. I just set up some sample orders from my store with some sample customers, and this is the email address for the most recent order. So we're going to search for this one. And you can see that the function was successfully able to pull this order 1004, from my store. And of course, if you click on View Order, it's going to pull up a page with detailed information about the order. And folks, that is pretty much going to be it for this tutorial. Like I said earlier, you can also set this up with just a general knowledge base, FAQs, store information, your store policies, things like that, to create just a general question and answer chatbot. But that's fairly straightforward to do. I covered it in my last Voiceflow tutorial video. There's also a bunch of other videos on YouTube that you can search to do that as well. So this was strictly about using that Streamline Connector app to import the product information and provide recommendations within the chatbot interface, and also to look up order information and provide that order status. that the customer might be looking for. And like always, please like this video if you thought it was helpful. Please subscribe if you want to stay tuned for more videos. If you have any questions or comments about this or other topics related to AI automation, feel free to leave them in the comment section below. My website is valteri.com. If you want to work with me, you can please reach out. That's it for today's tutorial. Thank you all for watching. You have a great rest of your day.